Yo, what is going on? Come on, crew. Welcome back to the show. Everybody's doing good, man. Injury Armageddon. We got our waiver pickups, and the players continue to drop like flies this week. What are we talking? Boomer bust week number 5. Who's going to boom? Who's going to bust? And who can we trust this week? We're talking accuracy purposes. Last week was a gong show, man. I only hit on the 50% on the accuracy. Not great, but at least we're still in the green. 49% versus Vegas is still good news, man. So 50, we're still on the ups, still on the positives for the entire season, which is good on picking these players. We got to get the big-time booms this week and stay away from the bust. So let's talk running backs. Derrick King Henry, Baltimore Ravens. They are in a world of hurt right now with no Lamar Jackson, potentially 2 to 3 week injury, 48 points, 50% on that boom rate where King Henry last year was a 100% boom rate hitter. Not good. I mean, it's a rough start for the Ravens overall this season. Now losing Lamar, like I said, it's going to be a big problem. This offense is definitely going to have to lean on Derrick Henry in a very big way. Cooper Rush is the backup and going to be starting. And I mean, I know a lot of y'all scared off for the high-end upside of a Derrick Henry because of the fumbling issue, because of how poor the Baltimore Ravens offense has been playing even with Lamar overall. But now with Cooper Rush, what are they going to do? We've seen this script before in the past where they do a heavy set of a Derrick Henry when he was on those Tennessee Titans. We should see a very similar type of thing where he's carrying the load, piling up yards. And if the Ravens have any shot to win, you got to believe they got to give Derrick Henry at least 25 touches in this contest. I'm calling a volume boom for a King Henry versus the Houston Texans. They needed him to run extremely well, exceptionally well. Who knows if they'll win the contest, but at least Henry should at least get us the points we require. David Montgomery taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, 49 points, 50% on that boom rate so far this season. Okay, admittedly, I pushed Monty last week a lot, and he definitely failed us. Maybe I was overzealous, believing the Lions would again force feed this man, after a career showing. I should have known better. That one's on me. I'll definitely own that one. But basically, giving him the game off last week, the Lions get a nice, tasty matchup versus Cincinnati Bengals this week. Only having 1.2 points last week is not going to cut it for Monty, but I guarantee you it won't happen again here in week 5. TD upside is definitely here versus one of the weaker defenses, weaker clubs in the NFL right now, and these Lions, they're looking to continue to move forward in the right direction. TD upside, like I said, is here. Boom time for a Monty on a bounce-back week. It's going to be way better than 1.2. We can trust Monty this week. Tony Pollard taking on the Arizona Cardinals, 38.6 points, only 25% on that boom rate so far this season. Okay, the unpopular opinion, the Cardinals, they have a better to good defense this season. I do like what I see in Arizona, especially from that front seven. They are making life very difficult, and it is, becoming tougher to run on this defense. I mean, lack of anything positive on the offensive side for these Titans, and the return of Tajay Spears should also bring fewer touches to Tony. We still haven't gotten word. The 21-day window is open for Spears at this point. Have not gotten word if he is going to suit up in this contest just yet. Even if it does, I mean, it's going to remove some of the volume from Pollard, but Pollard has been a volume pig so far, but the production has been meek at best because this offense is definitely not doing anything to help him out in the pass game. One low-level boom, and the rest have been definitely underwhelming for Tony Pollard. Not sure if Spears is going to play this week, or if he does, how much he will play. But versus the Cardinals' improving run defense, I'm calling a bust once again for a Tony Pollard. He gets a decent floor. It's 6 to 12 points, but it's not going to be enough this week versus the Cardinals. Rachaad White taking on Seattle Seahawks. Okay, and these Buccaneers are going through some injury woes of their own. 24 points, 25% boom rate for a Rachaad White at this point. Big news, we know Bucky Irving has been ruled out. He's in a walking boot dealing with that foot issue, and this could legit be a multi-week injury. I mean, why not? Because we aren't that lucky to have him come back after sitting 1 week. I told y'all this offseason, go and grab a Rachaad White because he would still have a role on this offense, and he should have had a much greater role throughout the first 4 weeks of the season because the Buccaneers completely overworked Bucky Irving, and it was definitely showcased with the fact of this foot injury. Slotting into a premier role when Bucky is going to be sitting this week, the Bucs will definitely employ a dual backfield with a Sean Tucker And I mean, the volume's definitely going to be there for both these guys. Either way, they're going to have to run the ball, establish the run to get Baker Mayfield to pass the football like he has. So the run game is not going anywhere this week, and Tucker should have a role just like a Rachaad White. But the bigger side on the upside is the PPR upside for a Rachaad White this week. I'm calling a boom for this running back. Finally, he gets off the bench and into our starting lineups. Wide receivers, Brian Thomas Jr. taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, 30% on his season so far. Zero goose eggs on that boom rate, okay? There's a few top-end picks so far from this past draft that have completely busted so far this season. Brian Thomas Jr. is definitely one of these players, and his struggles continue into week number 5, man. It makes matters so much worse just because of the lack of productivity. It does not come to his direction. I mean, the lack of it's not necessarily a lack of targets either. The man's getting 8 targets per game on average. He just hasn't been able to, shake defenses, and the dropping problem has been present as well. Now you're taking on the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. I mean, this offense definitely going to get a test versus a defense that still can come after the quarterback. We'll see what Sunshine Trevor Lawrence can do. Can they truly hang in a tilt with the Kansas City Chiefs, who got a big win last week versus the Ravens? He will eventually break out, Brian Thomas. We got to believe it's going to come at some point, and then they're going to figure it out. It is a new system, new regime, so we'll see. But the drops are not helping the cause. I'm not betting on it this week. Bust once again for this wideout. Brian Thomas Jr. continues to disappoint us in 2025. Jameson Williams taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, 32.4 points, only 25% on that boom rate. And what's the mantra basically now moving forward? Start everybody versus Cincinnati Bengals at this point. But I mean, when we talk about, play all your stars versus rough defenses, it is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's going to be Gibby, and it's even going to be potentially Laporta this week. But Jamo has only seen one real big contest on his resume this season, going back to week 2, where he had that 17-point plus, showing, which was great. And again, they're utilizing him simply as a deep threat to pull coverage from other receivers. Not enough. You got to get this man more involved. This should definitely be the game where Jamo gets a lot more targets, continues to grow that confidence that much higher, and the Lions should walk through Cincinnati quite easily, and Jamo should be a big beneficiary for us this week. Boom for Jamo with TD upside coming out the wazoo. Darius Slayton taking on these New Orleans Saints, 18.0% on the boom rate. Not surprising on the boom rate for Slayton. But with week 4, like I said, the injury Armageddon took out our boy Malik Neighbors for the rest of the season with an ACL injury. Not good, but it is good news for us. If you picked up a Darius Slayton off the wire in majority of leagues, he was there for us. And now we're going to see the upside in increased target share for a Slayton. We've seen the story in the past as well, with the number 1 wide receiver does go down in New York. Does not matter who the quarterback is. They tend to go in the direction of a Slayton, even though the wide receiver 1 targets should go to a Wandale as the primary in this offense with a Jackson Dart. Lesser coverage coming toward a Slayton is good news for us. Dart did look good in his debut, so we should see much more ups on the horizon for Darius Slayton. We saw Kendrick Bourne be a waiver wire gem on Thursday Night Football with those 49ers. Slayton could be one as well. Boom for this waiver pickup. We got to plug and play with all these injuries that we do have. Stephon Diggs, weekend digs it, taking on the Buffalo Bills. 30 points, 30.8 points on his season, 25% on this boom rate so far this season. Okay, if you watch my shows, you know I love me some revenge games. Stephon Diggs is definitely coming back to the Buffalo Bills, where he saw the, greatest success in his career coming off that ACL injury. Diggs been good overall. We can't, no setbacks. We can't really say anything bad about his game. He just hasn't necessarily secured the top end point productivity just yet with a Drake May, but it could be coming in the next coming weeks. Like I said, no setbacks. It is good. Secured his first boom game last week against the Carolina Panthers. Drake May found him on the regular. The emotions will be riding high for, Stephon Diggs and these Pats, so he could be making an effort for, getting Stephon Diggs that many more targets, many more passes to come his way to kind of stick it to his other club, man. Seeing his interview, you're saying, he misses the Buffalo Bills. He misses his boys over in Buffalo because he knew the grass isn't greener on the other side as the Bills continue to win, and Diggs has moved to his 3rd team in the last 2 years. years, so it's going to be interesting. Diggs could be playing more with heavy heart than chip on his shoulder. I do believe he could have a decent game, but I'm calling a bust in his return. No revenge boom coming for Diggs this week versus his former club. Tight ends, Juwan Johnson taking on the New York Giants, 37.4 points, 75% on that boom rate for Juwan, coming off his first bust of the season, but it's because he landed awkwardly on his foot and he tweaked his ankle, so he definitely was not necessarily targeted as much as you want to, but Juwan definitely is a favorite target for a Spencer Rattler so far this season, taking on these Giants and that great pass rush. Spencer Rattler is going to have to pass the ball quick and often, and he's going to have to find those safety blankets. If he's going to not lay on his back on the turf from this front seven for these Giants that are going to come after him heavy with that bum rush, he's got to throw it to a Juwan. If the game does get out of hand, it is still good news for us because garbage time productivity is on the docket for a Juwan, and I'm all for it. We can trust him in a very big way, even with that ankle issue. He's a limited participant in practice on Thursday, so I fully expect him to play. Boom for this tight end baller. Love me some Juwan this season. Darren Waller taking on the Carolina Panthers, 16.2 points, 100% on his return, 1-for-1, baby. Okay, and I'm going to admit right off the bat, I wasn't expecting a great deal from Darren Waller's return to the NFL, but he made a big splash versus the New York Jets. As soon as Tyreek Hill went down, it was good news for Waller and company. Found himself as the tight end number 2 last week, 16-plus points. Big-time news, man. Obviously, Tyreek Hill down, out for the season with that gruesome knee injury. Was just awful to see. Waddle and Waller should make up the new W squared here for these Finns moving forward. And, we've seen this, too. This is good news as well. We saw it in the past where Coach McDaniel's no stranger to feeding the tight end spot, where we witnessed it with a Jonnu Smith. He ate all over the place on this offense last season, so it could be true the same for a Darren Waller. It is worth the risk this week versus the Carolina Panthers defense that is struggling overall. Boom! In week number 5 for this rap artist, NFL tight end. Dalton Kincaid taking on the New England Patriots, 42.9 points, 75% on that boom rate. Finally, the Bills are making a conscious effort to get Dalton Kincaid the football. This is good. That's why I had him ranked so high in my pre-draft rankings for fantasy football. But let me be clear on this. The Buffalo Bills, we can play Dalton Kincaid this week the way the Bills are playing. This is more of a caution to play, as the points could go under that boom threshold in week number 5. The Bills, they've been in cruise control so far this season, playing at the level of the opponent, turning it on when they require, with guys like James Cook and Josh Allen. Whenever they require a play, Josh puts a cape on, and they make these plays, win the game, and go home. Kincaid definitely has seen a greater role in this offense. But in this contest, you could see a movement back to the others and integrate more into that everybody eats, where, it's been more Cook, it's been more Kincaid. I think we could see more Khalil Shakir, more Keon Coleman this week as well. We can still play a Dalton Kincaid, but I'm going to err on the side of caution that it could just be under that boom threshold. Bust, but we can still play a Dalton Kincaid. Very odd, I know, but we can still play him this week. Last one we got is Harold Fannin Jr., going back to the NFL draft. Only Fannins was my dude. I love this guy going back to college. Bowling Green was so good, and I loved watching him eat early this season. However, the stats are starting to be diminished over the last couple weeks, and now with the changeover at the quarterback spot, they got Joe Flacco relegated to the bench. The positive for a Fannin, the target share has definitely been there, and it has been more than Njoku. 24 targets to 21. This is why I was so down on Njoku coming into the season as well. But starting a rookie passer like a Dylan Gabriel, the potential for checkdowns to the tight end is definitely here. But running with these, Vikings defensive front, it could limit any kind of passing upside this week to anybody. Fannin is definitely a beast, but I don't like it. For better or worse, he is going on my bench because of the rookie passer, because of the Vikings defense. I'm calling a bust for only Fannins this week in London. I do not like it for these Cleveland Brownies. But there you have it. That is Boomer Bust week number 5. Who's going to boom? Who's going to bust? And who can we trust this week? We got to get those boom games, as so many injuries. Our rosters look like I don't even know anymore. But it is getting bad in a lot of leagues. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. Got starts it for you tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Drop in your comments. Whatever questions you want to ask for Start Sit, I got you covered. But we'll see you next time. I am out.